Batmobile. Let's go.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Here, ready to move out.
My dad called me before. He's like, so how exactly can I listen to your show live right now?
Dad, you said?
Yeah, my father called me up. He's so confused still with the computer. You know, he's like, so can I download this? It's like free, and then what do I do? Do I listen to it on my CD player? I'm like, no, Dad, God Almighty.
Well, there is a couple services where we can go live, but I haven't farted around with them.
We're like 15 shows in, so I guess we could maybe do that eventually, you know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in ancient Rome.
It said on his website, it says written and directed by Disciple, but on the DVD I just watched this morning, it said written by Sutter Kane.
He may have a couple aliases.
Call him. I'll
That's
introduce
actually my fifth alias.
Fanboy Will.
Yes, after asshole, dickhead, cocksucker, on and jerk. Douchebag, also, that's another one.
Mr. Disciple.
Hey.
How are you, sir? This is Christopher Mosier you're talking to, and Fanboy Will as well.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, Fanboy Will, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
I'm going to run in the other
Cool.
the other room and grab the phone, and we'll get started.
Cool.
Okay.
So talk among yourselves for about 5 seconds.
Oh, about 5 seconds. All right, what can we say? How's the weather out there today?
It's actually a lot of overcast.
Yeah, that's how we are, too, so that's weird.
Yeah,
storm moving in.
Oh, yeah, it's strange, you know. Usually around this time of year it's sunny.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, it's overcast.
Okay, I'm back.
It's even overcast out in California, Chris.
Oh, really? It's one big storm system.
Yeah.
We're all going to die. How exciting. Yay, the end of the world.
Woo!
Oh, okay.
There go all those bills.
Thank God we have Purgatory, right?
Hey!
Yeah.
That's a segue.
Good segue.
So we're
Nice.
speaking today
News.
with Disciple, and is that an alias, or how did you get that name?
Actually, I want to say the name came up from being a performance artist of a stage play that I wrote, which is a multimedia opera, and I made up a character based on an ex-fiancée that I had.
And actually, the fan films that we're going to talk about are based on that opera, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's actually going to be one of my questions was, can you tell us a little bit about the opera, like, you know, the premise and all that, and the characters?
Oh, yeah. It was a multimedia opera that I wrote and performed back in, 94, between 94 and 98. It was a multimedia opera that dealt with a stage show that had an opening video as well as music, and I wanted to kind of reintroduce the whole theater to a young audience. I used to be a promoter in the San Francisco Gothic industrial club community, and bringing that little visual performance into that scene was a real treat for a lot of people. And it basically was my little therapy from personal experiences that I've gone through. So it was really cool. It was really fun. It was really draining being a one-man performance. Now,
Wow, it was a one-man show, huh?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was interesting, you know, not coming from a background of theater or music or film. I think it kind of helped me because I had a clear palette to start with. There was no rules. I just did what was natural or instinctual.
And you were your own boss, kind of.
Yeah, I can't sing a lick. I can't act with nothing. But the performance came through, and it just takes a lot of willpower and a lot of focus.
And a lot of balls.
Yeah.
To get up there and just to do it.
That helps.
Yeah. You know, most people think that they'll get into the performance for, the money or, for the women. And, well, maybe not the money. Definitely for the women.
For Forget all that money.
Yeah. Well,
just pay me in chicks.
Yeah. That's one of the first motivations. But then again, I think a chick is what got me into trouble.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, that happens.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Right, Chris?
You are married, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you are in trouble then. I know how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I married my therapist.
Whoa.
Therapy, like you sprained a leg, or therapy?
No, my psychiatrist.
Gotcha. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, she helped me through some real hard times, and found out, hey, it would be cheaper just to marry her, so it worked out.
Yeah, you find the hour rate goes down when you marry her.
Oh, no, that's when the hour really starts. Yeah, but all in all, Purgatory was an actual performance, and it was actually called Disciple Gossip Multimedia Opera. Now, moving a little bit ahead into what it is now, as a promoter, I think in 2004, the San Francisco version of Comic-Con, which is called WonderCon, came to town, and was really growing. And me and my friends in the nightclub community wanted to do something that ties in together the whole graphic novel and the club community. So we decided to do a nightclub gig, one-night special kind of thing. So we dressed up the club with big old comic books, like the sales from different comic books and from different artists. We wanted to get a comic book themed nightclub, which turned out really great.
That sounds very cool.
But we wanted something that was going to be really special, what would make that year special. And one of the persons had mentioned it happened to be the 10th anniversary of the Crow movie. I went, oh yeah, I love that movie. That was cool. But what are we going to do? So I had this idea of putting together not only a comic book themed club, but I thought it would be a great opportunity for the local filmmakers to do like a fan film homage to any kind of Crow material. So I put an ad on Craigslist for like 10-minute shorts, and we actually showed the local filmmaking community. We brought that into the club and had a big screen, and people were able to submit their fan films. Oh, and that's when everything blew out. Yeah, everything blew up, and I said, hey, this is a kind of a cool market, putting nightclubs, putting comic books, putting fan films, and just something I really like, and just make it into one event. And that's how SF Crow 2004 came to be. And it happened during WonderCon. Of course, that was our targeted market.
Now,
well, there was one of my questions. I was going to how the Crow and everything ties into the whole Disciple picture.
Yeah. Now, how that happened was totally. I guess it was a situation comedy accident, so to speak. I found out going through Craigslist and through other local communities. I was trying to figure out what is the independent fan film or independent film community, what they were like. And I was doing all my networking. A lot of people said they were filmmakers, but when it came through, okay, you want to put something in? They go, yeah, sure. And all of a sudden, they flaked.
Yeah.
So thinking I had six slots for films to fill in an hour, I had about 3. So in the last 2 months of planning, I said, okay, I started this. I might as well try to make a fan film myself. And because I didn't have enough time, I just adapted the screenplay, the stage play, and I brought it in, sort of fused it in with the Crow thing, with the Crow title. So that's how the birds end up being there. But basically, I just put two genres together and made a fan film.
Seems like a good mix. Seems to have worked out.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, the Raphael character in Purgatory, he actually had a total different look. It just turned out to be, how to get it closer to make the genres mix.
Right.
Not knowing that I'd have a really good response on the web and from the event, I just said, well, if it gets to a bigger audience, that'd be great.
Now, you invited Mr. O'Barr to that event, correct? Is this the same one?
Yes, in fact, I did. I didn't think it was going to work, but what happened was that I contacted James O'Barr and asked him if he was going to WonderCon. And at first, they were just thinking about it, but I made the traveling plans for him, put him up in a hotel, and made him the honorary guest. I think the most scariest part was actually having him there the night of the show and saying, hey, this is really happening. But he told me something that night after seeing the movie, something that really stuck with me. He had mentioned he really appreciated the fact that I took an idea and just turned left, and created my own thing and not just, redo his film or use any characters.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from copyright issues, he was saying, it's cool to see just an alternative view. And, I took that, you can either take that as a compliment or thanks for not ripping off my stuff.
Yeah.
But, it seemed like he really appreciated it.
Plus,
that's cool. I was actually going to ask him that, too, about James O'Barr. That's great.
Your film could have been, it could have been an entity of itself. I mean, it did touch on the Crow franchise, but it didn't really have all that much to do with the Crow.
Yeah, I found out once the little 10 to 15 minute short, when that hit the web, especially through a lot of the responses from Comics to Film, Rob Worley's site, a lot of the feedback that I got was very positive, and the not so positive ones are, like, why is it so different?
Yeah, Crow purists.
Yeah, and I actually looked at that. Well, Eric Draven and Ash Corbin's, their story is already told, and I clearly say I'm not trying to make any money or trying to say, this is how I think it should be. It was just what it was. Now you grab a camera, you make a movie for you and your friends, and hopefully people would appreciate it, especially with no budget and trying to end up in, I'm not trying to make you go to the shelves of Blockbuster or something like that. It was just what it was. But a lot of it I credit to just the energy of my friends and the people who were involved, all from Craigslist, Bay Area casting, and basically they did it for no pay.
That's the best kind of actors there is, the free ones.
Oh yeah, because they're more hungry.
You bought pizza, McDonald's or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, actually, the first Purgatory movie, I think the budget was, I think it was 2 value meals at Taco Bell. I splurged a little on that one.
Wow, you could teach Hollywood a trick.
Yeah.
No extra large, no extra.
That's the funny thing about Hollywood. Hollywood now is made up of independent film companies. And the ironic thing, now the independent film companies are acting like the majors, and all the big studios are now just being distributors.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's coming to, we don't want to see people who can act good. We want a studio that already has everything done already, and we just slap our label on it. It goes the same with the music business.
Yeah, I understand you're involved a little bit in that as well.
Yeah, I scored both movies. Once again, not knowing how to score it, did it.
So you're Lonzaga as well, right?
Yeah, but don't tell anybody.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, I use a lot of pseudonymous names because, I don't like the ego trip of saying I did this, and that, and so on and so forth. So
plus you can avoid legal issues.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Where can I find this Lonzaga guy?
Yeah. So I'm also Tyler Durden and Alan Smith Jr.
Are you Sutter Kane as well?
Yeah, Sutter Kane.
Okay, I won't tell him.
I'm Dirk Diggler.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I'm also one of the fight coordinators, One Hung Low.
Oh, jeez. That's pretty cool.
So, pretty much what's really cool is that the response of the first one, which I didn't even think the second one would even like, it was purely done on the response of what everybody, what's going to happen next. And so I actually did another script and just took it even further. And by the time Purgatory II came out, I think the premiere party we had, which was at WonderCon 2007, that really was a really, really, really good turnout. We rented a place, and we had a really good crowd, really responsive, and since then, we had some really good things. The movie made it to the Cannes Festival de Cannes in France in 2007.
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's my video camera? That's cool. You know,
big time. That's a big leagues right there.
Yeah. It's like big time, but not making any money.
Yeah.
But I think the exposure itself and just learning, you know, how to improve on what you've done before as far as like filmmaking, editing, scoring, and sound design.
Because you go and
really a treat.
You go and make contacts, right? You probably made a lot of contacts, so that works out as well.
I make more contacts, I find, in when I do like panels at certain conventions like Silicon. This year we're going to be at the Comic-Con convention. Of course, unfortunately, they don't have a independent film panel for comic books for whatever reason.
That's the usual. Never is.
Yeah. I mean, not to badmouth them, but then again, a lot of it's run through bureaucracies. And, you know, I heard that stuff about last year. About I think they had that Predator versus Alien rated R preview, and once they found out, they had to pull it. They were going to actually show that one, but when they found out it was a rated R thing, they pulled it. So a lot of the quote the filters or parents, you know. They have filters, and they can't show to all ages and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That comes in, and that kind of takes the edge off of things. I mean, these are graphic novels, and I think that's one of the reasons why Purgatory II is not going to be part of Comic-Con, but we're actually showing it right across the street at the Hilton.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. You're having a double screening along with Ron Santiago of Red Cape Cinema.
Yes, we are. How I hooked up with Ron Santiago was actually one of his actors was actually in Purgatory 2.
Cool.
When he told me about him, I said, "Oh, you mean he made the Wonder Woman film?" I said, "Oh, cool." And that's how we actually met through that. So we decided they have a web-based superhero film coming out, so I just thought it would be good to do something joint, you know. And it's not so much, hey, we're from the Bay Area and we're taking over. It just so happens to be we knew each other. So, you know, it's all about networking because we don't make a lot of money. We just have to look like we've made a lot of money.
You just got to leapfrog from here to here.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm really down with supporting the local film artists, especially fan films. One other thing that I'm doing now is I'm also an event coordinator for a Berkeley community channel, Channel 28. And I do their summer film festival and a horror film festival, basically trying to stimulate the local filmmaking community to do independent films, horror films, and then actually have a TV show and big screening event to show it. So I'm very active as far as like trying to get more product out. That's what I'm doing at this point. So July is going to be really crazy. Oh, I'm also doing the 48-hour film festival in San Francisco too on July 18th. So
you do a lot of hopping.
Yeah, I do. You got to do that because rent is due, and out here in the Bay Area, it costs a lot.
There you go.
But I hope I didn't go too far from what we were talking about.
You're the guest. You go wherever you want to go.
I got to jump out of the call for a second, gentlemen. Hold on for 1 second.
Not a problem. So I'd like to get more into the films as well. Kind of how you made them. I mean,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can get into that because I was really down in the mud for that. You know, like when you're forced to do something, it's like raising a kid. You don't know how to do it.
Right. It's no rule book comes out of the womb with the kid, huh?
No. And it's that whole thing is like a curse. You know, when you have to get it done and it's in your head, you have to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what drives you.
I do. I dabble in writing in comics and stuff myself, so I can relate to that.
Oh yeah. Well, being from a comic background and from yourself, you sit at home and you go, man, I got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got to do this. You know, it's like it's not hard when you're in it. It's just starting it. I think that's my problem. I'm fine once I start, but then trying to keep focus is really, really rough.
Right. Just sitting down and actually, you know, Starting the first word.
Yeah, first sale, trying to, come out. That's usually the hardest part. That what I tell everybody whenever I do any kind of guessing is like, start it and finish it. How bad it is.
Right.
At the end, no matter what, you'll be happy that you actually saw it through.
Well, and so they could, call brainstorming there. You just keep writing, and even if it's shit, you can go back, and that's when you're tweaking everything. That's just the writing process. So I have to tell you that, you know that.
Yeah, filming is fun, but, there's always that dealing with the personality. I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of do a lot of things myself.
Yeah.
Because you basically have to babysit them.
Well, yeah, especially when you're pulling them off Craigslist and, you're bringing them to Taco Bell. It's kind of hard to...
Yeah, I was going to say you can't really spend a lot if you're paying for free, so to speak. But I think what makes a lot of people respect you more is that you actually follow through and have a good, decent turnaround.
Yeah, and then they have a resume piece for themselves.
Yeah. I have a lot of colleagues and friends of mine who are filmmakers who have a short film. They're still working on it after 3 years, and that's one of the traps, having to finish it. And a lot of it's kind of because they have to go through somebody else to do a certain service, or say if it's editing or scoring kind of deal. But yeah.
With technology and computers, they got to learn. They got to self-learn. I'm sure you did all your editing and everything, right?
Yeah.
So you're just a one-man crew.
Scoring is fun. It's annoying, but it's fun. I trying to learn the cello is the hardest thing I've ever done. I'll play 2 notes and fall asleep.
Oh, jeez.
Cello's a really nice sounding equipment, but you have to be awake to play it.
Hello?
Who's this?
Hey, gentlemen, sorry about that. I do jump into my boom tube for a second. If you're a geek, you know what that is. And just came back. Does anybody know what a boom tube is?
Was it that Batman thing?
No, it's from the DC universe, but it's not Batman.
No.
Oh, I could have swore you said boom tube.
Boom, B-O-O-M.
Oh, boom. Okay, right.
Hey, we're coming over.
Boom tube is the thing I watch. It's from the New Gods. It's how they transport each other from their world to different dimensions. Like Darkseid and all those guys, we always go for the boom tube. Transport themselves. I don't know if anybody really knows, but I'm just a complete dork, so excuse me for even bringing that up in the first place.
Hey,
as I push my glasses up. Hey!
Well, we got as far as Disciple practicing or falling asleep at his cello.
Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah.
I missed that?
Yeah. We're talking about scoring and filmmaking and stuff like that.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I guess what if you wanted to get into was the nitty-gritty of filmmaking.
Yeah, I kind of want to get into, I don't know if you want to take the first movie or the second movie. Okay, you decide to wake up one day and you want to make a fan film, and you already killed some of my questions because you explained the whole thing and how the idea and the concept came about. Mm-hmm. But you bring us through a typical day of some guerrilla filmmaking and what you got to come up against as far as directing, positioning of the camera, and most importantly, dealing with your talents.
Yeah, well, the Bible of filmmaking is basically Ed Wood. You sneak into places because you don't have the release forms. Whatever looks cool. You basically have to live your whole life framing things because you don't have any... If you watch a lot of movies, you'll pick up on how films are done. You'll start doing a lot of technical stuff instinctually. Typically... There's a rule: you should always try to shoot like an editor. A lot of people waste a lot of film or tapes just getting like 400 takes, and that gets the energy down. I think what actors and crew like is if you shoot very efficient, very fast. I think that's why a lot of people do green screen stuff now. But if you don't have green screen, whatever it takes, whether you storyboard or not, just have the ideal fresh and to get there as fast as possible, but as efficient and cleanly, because people feed off that energy and they'll get excited and they won't get tired by the 40th take. Having good actors to ad-lib to improve, to bring their character in it, the camera just telling its own story, stuff like that. it's best if you learn to do your own music. It's best to learn if you edit as well as shoot. And you can do some really good stuff with prosumer equipment. You know, anything with 3-chip camera, develop a storyline and be able to tell it pretty cleanly. So how would we guide this to make it sound more
Hello?
better?
I disappeared again.
Where'd you go?
I went over to the other side again.
Oh,
They
jeez.
called me, so.
You went to
Apparently I'm the most popular guy in
Purgatory.
the world today.
Hey, how'd you get into? You got into that dance club? Is that like you're talking about sneaking into places?
Oh,
You just
yeah.
sneak in there and just start shooting.
Not so much. Partly is dance clubs, but a lot of it. If you see something like, say, like an airport, if you can get in without getting caught,
Right.
anything that, or a government building. You know, I've actually shot inside Alcatraz Island,
Oh, jeez, yeah.
the prison cells, by acting as a tourist. And the cool thing about having prosumer cameras is that they think you're a tourist because you're not having all this big equipment.
Right.
But once again, it goes back, can you shoot fast and get what you need and get out of there? That's what I meant by Ed Wood is sort of the teacher. For
Right.
that. But yeah, a lot of people ask, how did you do that? I shot in operating rooms before,
Okay.
or being in one, but I used a lot of those stock footage that was shot by my camera and put it in the background and then just doctoring it up to make it look like the actor's there.
So like the
I was
autopsy.
just saying, in Crow Purgatory, in the second film, there's that hospital scene at the beginning.
Yeah, that's actually part. I went to a doctor's office to get, I think it was, oh yeah, that's what it is. I took my friend in to get a boob job. And while we're at, you went for a
a
consultation?
female, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing post. She was actually there for a consultation. And, of course, when the guy left the room, I just took my camera out and just started shooting equipment, not knowing what it was. And one of my good friends works at a fast food restaurant, which I really can't say what it is, but back where they wash the lettuce and all that stuff. Part of that was used for the background. And you just neatly put it together to make it look like a coroner's office.
How was
when it's all together, you know, because I like stainless steel, and usually you think, you know, in one of those corner places that you see forensic files, they have a lot of stainless steel equipment, and that's the first thing that came to mind. So, yeah, between that and Burger King, it worked out fine.
Burger King!
when you were in the beginning of the second film, when the examiner there was cutting open the cadaver, the character of Alexis. What was that? That was real, right?
Well,
You got it from someplace.
There's two versions. There's the unrated version and then there's the rated version. The unrated version, which is the one that shows the brain being cut open, is that the one?
It was kind of like, yeah, exactly. It was kind of like the side of the head,
and the
so
web
yeah.
stuff?
And then he was sewing it up afterwards.
I do some work for Stanford University, the medical department, and once again, wherever I'm at, I try to pick up on material.
So
basically,
snuck into the cadavers.
Yeah, it was an actual cadaver.
Yeah.
And it was part of an autopsy. I took some of the technical jargon and some of the shots and then just trying to match flesh tone. So trying to turn brown hair to black to make it match, that's a challenge. Trying to make it look like it's in the same room, that's a challenge. And having surgical gloves on one shot and no surgical gloves on another shot and just trying to mix it in, that's a challenge. Once again, it's all about being resourceful and wherever you're at. So, yeah, I could say that's special effects, but, yeah, that's the real deal.
I kind of figured, knowing the budget of the film into what I was looking at, it had to be real.
Yeah. Well, I'm always going to tell somebody, oh, yeah, that's digital tracking, and my CGI art is that, if I ever came to it. But really, and then again, there's a thin line because it's not really a snuff film. I'm not really killing anybody.
Right. We'll get that right out there.
But yeah, basically it goes back to whatever it takes. I'm a true believer that I'm basically a true believer. One of the benefits of poverty is being creative. A lot of people who have big budget movies, they have enough to make CGI and create well, but I think the artistry of trying to make something out of nothing works really well.
Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
Scoring, doing the music, while you're filming, you could be thinking of the score, or while you're scoring, you could be thinking of the film, so they work back and forth. I think scoring is a really hard thing to do, but luckily I was able to learn a lot of things from the 10-minute run Robert Rodriguez Film School. Cool. That is like a really good teaching tool. Basically, he tells you how to do it, and it's up to you to do it, of course. But he just shows you which road he took, and that's the road I took. So on all my movies, I kind of credit Rodriguez 10-minute school.
Where would one see that, or where is that?
There is Sin City. There's Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh, I gotcha.
Features.
Yeah,
they show them how they did certain shots.
Gotcha.
Or at a low budget thing.
Right.
I think that's what I really like about what he does. Even though he played it, he kind of shows how to do cool things at a low budget. So.
I think that he's like a big time Hollywood guy now, but he still uses those independent film kind of roots.
Yeah.
And it looks really good. You don't have to spend $8 billion in a gunfight. Right. You know what I mean? You could do it for pretty cheap these days, fortunately.
Yeah. In fact, in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, they weren't able to get, I believe, you mentioned they weren't even able to get the theater guns past the border. So all they had was these rubber guns, and they shot up a church without even, a lot of stuff they did with some swinging guns or spark guns, but a lot of it was pushed after. But just learning how to work around things when things don't work out. That is, if you're able to do that, always have a plan Z, as I always say. It gets you through the shoot a lot faster rather than just totally panicking and shut down.
When I say bang, you lay down. All right, everybody, get together.
Yeah. There's a scene when Antonio Banderas is shooting, and you can see his mouth making the pow sound.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember seeing that at the end of the movie when we were talking about that.
And I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
That's fun.
But, it's same as the independent thing, just with more money.
Like you mentioned, Ed Wood, he had a lot of that really bad stuff going on in his films. Like, what's my cue now? Am I supposed to see a flying plate? Okay, there it goes.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Gotta love him.
I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand, and it's all part of the whole fan film experience. How to have fun while you're doing it, and that's what brings back the memory of the production. And there's nothing better than to start something and then finish it. As I was mentioning, that's the best reward. Can you finish what you've started?
Yeah.
That's always important.
And it's satisfaction. It's not instant gratification. It's something you work hard on.
Yeah.
And
kind of taking that as a segue. Could you tell us a little bit more about the? Tell us a little something. Period about the new Purgatory film that's in the works.
Yeah. First of all, that would take a lot more money, but we have to figure it out. Myself and the lead actor David Lockhart, he moved to Southern California and Hollywood to be a guy. He wanted to actually do Purgatory I. I, at the same time, wanted to actually take Purgatory and actually drop the Crow affiliation and try to let it stand on its own. Not because I wanted to make money, but at the same time, like James said, take it and run with it. As well, there's also creative and legal battles if it starts really, really making it, and I didn't want to run into that. I felt the story actually has a lot more to it, which I can go into, which actually brings home the whole Purgatory series.
That'd be great.
The whole thing is that, in a nutshell, from Purgatory II, the Alexis character gets how would I put it? She actually ends the world. Everybody dies. And,
Wow.
The demons actually, it's all about demons rising before the angels, and one trying to take power, and they're basically fighting over the souls of all humans. That way, the next species that takes over the world, they would see the good guys as being evil, and so on and so forth.
You kind of hinted that in the second film.
Yeah,
Third.
yeah. And that's when you actually see the Raphael character in his true form, which is basically there's no clothes on. They're almost, you know how Spawn had the biosuit kind of deal? I just felt it would be cool to see them in their real true form, emerging at the end of the world. And what's also funny is that what makes a pivot of film, there's a little girl who is supposed to represent the last living soul. So all the demons are after her to kill him to speed up the end of the world. And at the same time, the person who's protecting her is actually the priest character who we think dies at the end of the film. He's the one, the general who goes after Raphael.
Yep.
And he's basically trying to protect her. It's a really big budget film in my mind because I have no idea how to do it in a cheap level.
That's a lot of Taco Bell.
Oh, that's a whole bunch of Taco Bell.
Back up the truck.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, so what's kind of cool, though, is the whole imagery in my head, how you see this Alexis character when she comes to true form. And you see the Archangel and her standing on top of a mountain of dead bodies and the toxic fumes and the darkened sky, and they're facing off. I was like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's deep, man. That's deep stuff.
Well, the cool thing about it, at the darkest hour, as they say, when it's down to them two fighting, either they're going to try to, they still have a love for each other, but they know that they're enemies. And I think that's what makes it kind of Croatic, is because they say that love's supposed to conquer all, but this just challenges all the different sides. There's black and white, but there's a whole lot of gray.
I actually wanted to ask you, I noticed in the second Purgatory film that Neil Gaiman's character, Death, makes an appearance.
Oh, yeah.
How did she come into the story? I mean, it's kind of a logical connection. I could see that, but what made you bring the character into the story?
Without sounding too dorky, I had a dream about her 2 nights before we filmed it.
That's really dorky.
Originally she was, originally that scene was supposed to be just the character in the alleyway, and I didn't know whether it should be just a voiceover to see what he's been through, to explain it to new audiences, to kind of get the film going. And I just thought of a dream sequence, and then I think one night when I fell asleep, for some reason, Death, the whole Sandman world came in. I woke up that next day and just wrote it in without even thinking. And I don't know if it's a curse, if it's a bad thing or it's a good thing. Being a producer, when you have no boundaries or somebody say you can or can't do that, when you just do it, it just comes out.
And again, you found the perfect actress, too, to play the character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, she looks perfect.
She actually looks nothing like that, but
really,
creatively, when you pop a wig on, you do certain filters. She has really nice eyes. She had a really good voice. She was in an earlier short film that I did, and I wanted to work with her again. She's brilliant, really luminescent, and there was a certain innocence to her. And I thought of her right away. Not knowing the character, she picked up pretty quick. And for me, not even knowing what Death would be like, you only see Death on the page. That was my interpretation how she would look on film or be on film. So whether it's accurate or not, that would be up to Neil Gaiman fans to judge.
I'm a big fan of the character, and you definitely did her justice. It was a great portrayal.
I can tell you, I don't know anything about the character, and I've seen a couple images in comic books, and I knew right away who the character was, and I didn't know anything about her, so I picked right up on that.
And I always pictured her being very innocent, like she's sorry to take her life kind of a thing, visiting you, but feeling bad about it. You know, just saying, I'm going to kill you now. Damn, this sucks, but it's my job.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing.
One way, another way I saw it too is you have this innocent person who sort of craves the simple things in life. I think it kind of conveys on one of the comic books where, you know, she has to live a normal life, like eating a hot dog or something like that. But then this person has this massive power to just take your life in a second, or, you know. I thought that was an interesting. Plus, the legal battles, I was getting tired of. You know, they were saying the Death movie was coming out.
Really?
Yeah, the whole Sandman. But either was in script stage or development hell, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll just try it out, see what it's like. And it worked out pretty cool. You know,
have you had any response from the from Neil Gaiman fans, or
yeah?
How's it been? How's the reception?
I put it up on a Neil Gaiman discussion board.
Right.
He has that. One that stands out is the chick looks hot.
There you go. That's right.
That's true.
Two, they were happy to see what Death was like on screen. I had a couple of them that said, you know, where's Delirium? Where's everybody? And I had to make it clear to them, you know, this was just a sort of an introduction, homage. This was my interpretation of Death, kind of deal. And the fact that creating the whole thing, how Death came to be, from the DD character, a car crash from a drunk driver.
Yeah, that was really cool to see that. I was proud. It kind of brought like an origin to it, you know.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing a character out there, being like, "This is her. Here she is. You don't know anything about her." That was a good move.
Gaiman, I don't know if Gaiman would ever see it, but if he saw it, you know, I wouldn't want him to go, "Hey, that's not how that happens." Then he has an interpretation. Or you're like, "Hey, dude, you're using my stuff." You know, I'm always afraid of that. But
have you been contacted by Vertigo at all, or no?
No. I think at this point, Purgatory II, it's still a small change. It's still considered, even though it's original material, it's still a fan film that's not going to draw attention to itself. I think if I start trying to sell it or trying to copyright it, that's when I'll have problems.
Plus, it's not really online, is it? It's just you got the first one on there, but 2's not online.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to make a 2-hour hour and a half movie into a quick time or a YouTube.
People do it in parts, you know, like really long movies. They go like part 1 through 12, and you're like, Jesus.
Did you consider?
Yeah, that gets kind of cumbersome as far as it does. I would like to do that, but I've been going through certain people, like, you know, whoever's able to help. There's a guy in Canada who said he can make it into a torrent file, but unfortunately he didn't have any success with it. But I do intend to put it out there, once again, just for everybody to see and just appreciate it.
I put X-Files Graceland online. That's like an hour and a half movie.
Oh, really?
So if I got time, maybe, you know, a couple months from now, if you want, I could probably get it online.
Definitely.
All right.
You know,
well, I got the film.
Like I said, I'm not trying to get any royalties for it, so I might put it out there.
People deserve to see it. Damn it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Chris will take your money.
Yeah.
Right.
And spend it on strippers and bourbon.
We only do this podcast for money.
Well, see, that can actually be a tax write-off, you know.
There you go.
One thing I do look for, you know, it's very prominent when I do my filmmaking, is having a very viable fluffer. That's above the most important thing. I take that over any kind of film, you know, like director or DP. As long as they're a good fluffer, I'll be good. And I think that's really important. You guys know what a fluffer is, right?
Yes. I'm thinking porn films.
That's what I'm thinking, too. I'm like, is that the one, or?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I got to get relaxed before I go out on the set. Here I go.
When you can't think of how to end the scene, just yell it out. Fluffer! That's
Fluffer, you got to clap your hands.
Exactly.
Come to me, slave.
See, to me, since I can't bring a toilet on the set, it's better to have a fluffer.